Well, hello again. I'm about to do the last step on gluing all this cabinet back together. I've got everything glued. Well, let me see. I might have, no, that's good. I went over this thing just inch by inch, micro inch by inch, and I'm down to the last little item. I figured I might want to show you guys how I do it. For those, for those of you who have never seen me do it, everybody does it differently. There's no really right way. What you're doing is you're gluing. And this right here doesn't look like it's a problem, okay? All along this edge right here. Doesn't look like it's separated at all. Well, let me show you. See it? It is separated. You've got to get some glue up under here, and you've got to get some glue up under here. This is the last area. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take take some of this Elmer's wood glue. I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to take this little blade right here, and I cut this blade from a piece of plastic. You can get them off a milk carton, a milk bottle. Just cut them up. I have real long ones, real skinny ones, all different shapes. Put a point on them so it's easier to get it underneath the wood. And then I'm just going to rake up a little bit of that glue. And then I'm going to start forcing it underneath this. If you don't get this thing glued down, it's eventually going to peel back up. Don't think you're doing yourself a favor by letting it ride. We don't let anything ride. Alright, let me get some glue on it. Alright, here it goes. Just put it on both sides. I also have a damp cloth here. That's what we're going to wipe up the excess with, okay? Elmer's wood glue is water soluble while it's wet. And we go ahead and just force it under there all the way along. You just got to be careful not to go crazy. Especially on the thin stuff, you wind up doing more damage than good. So you don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and it takes two hands actually, one to hold the cabinet, but get it up under there. It doesn't take a ton of glue, but at the same time you want to try to get as much of it under there as you can. See, it's loose all the way here to the corner. The other side doesn't have this problem. Now we're going to take our damp cloth and wipe off all the excess. Try to get as much off as you can before it dries. It's going to take two hands again, but what I'm doing is I'm just wiping off, because what will happen now is when you clamp this thing down, you're going to have more glue squishing out. You don't want that. You need to keep wiping until you get it all off, even after you start the clamp. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a few minutes. Let me wipe it with both hands now. That's nice and clean now, but if I were to just go ahead and clamp it, it was, like I said, it would squish out a lot of glue. So what I'm going to do is let it wait a few minutes until it partially dries, then I'll clamp it slowly, and then I'll release the clamp. Anything that comes out, I'll wipe down again. But I just won't put the clamp on it, and don't just put wood on here with a clamp. The wood will glue to whatever it is you're trying to glue. That Elmer's wood glue is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I got this plastic. I'll use this edge over here, it's straighter. I'm going to put the plastic right there on the edge. Then I'm going to take this board that I sanded down nice and smooth, and I'm going to lay it right there on top, just an old scrap piece of wood. And then I'll run a large clamp from the bottom up to the top, and we'll clamp it down. But right now I'm going to let it set for just a few more minutes. Hopefully we won't get a lot of squish out, I call it. Alright, I let it set for a while, and as you can see, let me see if I can get you down in there. You can see we're already getting a little bit of squish out. That's probably acceptable. But over here it's not acceptable. It's far too much, okay? So I'm going to wipe that down and then put a second clamp on it. And this is the way I clamped it, with a big old clamp. Nothing elaborate. And then once I wipe it down, I'll go ahead and put the second one on. Alright, I think that's perfectly acceptable. You're going to have just a tiny bit that's going to squish out. You don't want to squish all the glue out. You got to have the glue, to hold the wood down. So what I'm going to do right now is just set it out on top of my garbage can in the Arkansas sun for about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes to an hour while I have a cup of coffee. Just like that. You don't need a whole lot of fancy gizmos and gadgets to do this work. And the next, there's a lot of cracks. This radio has a lot of cracks and separations in the wood because it's almost 90 years old. Well, you're dealing with antique radios here, people. If you expect perfection, buy something brand new. transistorized solid state. I don't know. You're not going to find it in these old cabinets. We're lucky to even have them still surviving to this day. We got to do our best to make sure it survives another 90 years, hopefully. Okay, I think she's had plenty of time to dry. Go ahead and get these clamps off of here. Oop, there's one. Just want to take 2 hands again. Alright, she looks real good along there. Glued all the way down. No glue sticking out from underneath it. Secured. Good, 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 good. Now we have another problem though. You'll notice that this is very, let me get down here a little bit closer. It's very rough along there. Very rough. Got some cracks. I'd like to do something about that. Let's check the other side. Yeah, this side's even worse, see? This side's got the holes. Cracked, very rough indeed. See, this is what you want. This is the sound you want. This is the sound you don't want. Okay, now let me tell you what we can do about this. It's obviously going to need some filling to make it smooth. Let's take a look at our options. Believe it or not, I could use glazing and spot putty on that thing. Okay, you can use it on wood and metal and whatnot. It's used for hairline cracks and dings. It says use on metal, wood, fiberglass, and sanded primer and paint. I could use that. Now it's going to be red if I use it, but of course once I stain it, put some toner on there, you would never see the red. So that's one option right there. It sands real easy. That's what I like about it. Fills in good, real quick, dries real quick, sands like a breeze. Now that's option number one. Now the other option I have here is Constantine's paste wood filler. Now a lot of people like to say paste wood filler. Well, I've never heard of paste wood. So it's actually paste wood filler. This is brown. And it's been sitting out in the garage for quite a while. I haven't used it. So let's open it. It may be all dried out for all I know. Now if it is dried out, this will be our go-to. Okay? Let's open it up. Well, I'm happy to say it's not dried out. Look at that. Ooh, that's great. Nice and soft. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. I've had this can for years and years, and you know I haven't used it all because if you use it right, it doesn't take a whole lot. Now you got to thin it down a little bit with paint thinner or mineral spirits or what. It doesn't take a lot. You kind of got to make it into a slurry almost, a thick slurry, I guess is what you would say, almost like pancake batter, only a little thicker. And you apply it the same way you would this stuff here. You know, you can use a little, of course we have to get along a very small edge right here, so I can take, mix a little bit of this stuff up on something, then take a little bit, just kind of give it one of those deals and kind of smooth it down there like that, and then turn the thing up the other way and go back the other way, and it will fill it in real nice. So what do we go with? Should we go with this or should we go with this? We'll go with this because it's brown, okay? I mean, if I don't have the option, of course this would be number one, but we'll go with this. I'll show you how to do that. Now this plastic I bought a while ago where I made a dial scale, it's usable for just about everything. Anything. I used it to keep the glue off the wood wherever I clamped it. I'm going to mix on it. These things last forever. You know, I bought one sheet. It was like $3 at Hobby Lobby. You can cut it to any shape. I made applicators out of it for putting, you know, the glue. I think this is it. Might not be. But you can make them where you put the glue in. It just comes in so handy. Alright, let's go ahead and put a couple of drops of paint thinner in there and mix it up and see if we can come up with the right consistency. Alright, I think I got it. See it? Almost like mayonnaise, I guess, is what, more like mayonnaise than pancake batter. It'll smush down into little holes, the little cracks, and the little low spots real easy, but you got to make sure it's nice and creamy, but not so creamy that it won't, you know, it's just, you just don't want it to run off of your applicator, and you don't want it so thick that it just kind of rolls up and balls up and does nothing. Let me get some on my spreader here. Now before we do, this paste wood filler is meant for open grain wood. If you've got a real tight grain wood like right here, you're not going to fill anything with it. It just roll. It's open grain wood, wood that's not smooth. If it's smooth like this and smooth like this and smooth and like in the front here or something, it's not going to fill anything. It's just you're wasting your time, energy, and money. But if it's coarse wood with little lines in it and separations and things, this right here is a little bit rough, but I still don't think I could use it on that. You'd have to strip it on down and get it to the wood to find out, alright? Now we have to be careful with this, but at the same time we don't have to worry about too much. You don't put too much on the edge. That's about all we need. And it might be a little too much there. But, if any of it gets over onto this area here a little bit too much, just wipe it down with a wet rag, and then, but it sands very easy. Very easy, so it's not that big a deal. You don't have to sweat it, okay? Okay, now that I've smushed it in there, I can go a little easier. Look how nice that looks already, huh? Does that look nice? Yes, it does. It may take 2 applications. I don't care. Whatever it's going to take, it's going to take, We do not worry about such things. We do not worry about such things. Do a little bit more over here. Okay, we went down one direction. Got that pretty well taken care of. I think what we'll do while we're here is go ahead and fill this hole in also. And we'll fill this one in. And this one. We're just going to work it over. Now we're going to go back the other way, okay? We'll fill in all those nail holes at the top. Go back up this way. This way. Smushing it into the wood. Smushing it in. Okay, now once we got done with that, you'll see that there's a lot of, I don't know if you can see this or not. There's actually a crack opening all along there. See it? I'm going to fill that in too. So let me go ahead and do one more time down so it's nice and as even as I can get it. You got to take your time with this stuff. We're in no hurry. We're not going anywhere. If you got a place to go, you should have left earlier. Okay, now let me see if I can fill that long crack in all the way down. Alright, I think that'll work real well for the first application. Now we'll do the other side. And it's beginning to dry up on me a little bit, so I'll just add a little more turpentine, just a couple of drops, stir it around. And I won't have to open up the can again. I think I got plenty. So we'll see what happens. Let's finish up the other side. End of part 1. It'll probably take a second application. It always does. After you sand it down, I'll let it dry. It'll dry nice, light colored like right there. Almost sand color. Anyway, then we'll go ahead and sand it down by hand. Probably use the finer of these 2 blocks I have, or maybe some real fine sandpaper. I don't know. Well, this is the next day, and I had to let it dry overnight. We had so much rain in the ground, the air was so moist. We had a big thunderstorm last night, and it right on up to this morning. So I took it in the house, just let it dry there. So I'll probably have to do one more filling, but right now I'm just going to do a sanding, and I'm going to use this is our fine sanding block. I'm going to show you just how quickly this stuff will sand down. Look at there, it's almost sanded all the way. So let me get working on all this, and we'll show you what the finished product is after I get everything smoothed down, whether or not we have to do a second filling. Well, the other side is all done, and we're just about done with this one, but I wanted to show you young folks. The old guys, they know this stuff, I mean, to them, they're probably out there yawning by now. I would be. But, young folks, they think that all you got to do is grab some sandpaper and go to town. That's not the case. It depends on what you're sanding. In this case, it's a filler. It's very soft, easy to sand. So, and it's in these cracks and crevices that I filled all the way along this edge. So what you do, let me give you a little, you just barely put any pressure on it. And if you use something like this, a wooden block, a rubber block, a sponge block like this one, this is some old sponge blocks, and you just kind of lay it up in there where the edge is. just kind of go like this, slow and easy, like that, because that finishing filler, which is basically what this is, that paste wood filler, it doesn't take much to start getting down below where you filled, and you don't want that. See, it's already starting to look pretty nice and smooth. Now I'm going to keep doing that. Not much pressure at all. Just kind of easy does it. Not a whole lot of pressure. The other side is not going to require a second filling. I'm kind of hoping the same thing will be for this side as well. Well, let me work. It's looking real good so far. You just got to take your time. Let me work on it a little more. Well, both of these are smooth now, just about as smooth as they're going to get. I could spend the next 10 hours and probably wouldn't get them any smoother. This is a piece of plywood. This is a piece of plywood with veneer put on top. And oh God, that veneer is so thin. Look at that. It looks thicker in the camera, but it's not. It is so thin. It's got to be like a 1/16 of an inch. And then they lay, you know, that plywood, the plywood front, plywood top. The rest of this cabinet is wood, probably solid wood. Yeah, plywood for the sides here. We got it all taken care of though. It looks real good. Got a little few stains over here that'll cover up real good. But I got one more thing to do, and I'm going to go ahead and do that before the next video. This, we've got some cracks right here. Let me zero in on that. See, this is going to have to be fixed. I'll have to fill that in, sand it down all the way across. Also right here, we've got to take care of that too. We got to dress that up, make it look good. The other side's not much better. On the corners, this poor old radio took a lot of beating on the corners. I don't understand that. Why would this have happened like that? During the next part, we'll be applying this veneer that I had out in the garage. Unfortunately for me, it's plenty wide enough, okay? It's iron-on. I bought it quite a while ago, and I used it for a realistic stereo that I restored. Turned out beautiful, by the way, the stereo did. And this has got a glue backing. And all we have to do is iron it on with an iron. Get it cut to the right size, iron it on, let it cool down, and then we can go ahead and start wiping down the whole cabinet and start getting some stain on it. And I'll be sealing this before I put the stain on because it is raw wood. We'll do that next time. Just cut it with a pair of scissors and iron that baby on. It works great. And I got it when it was even cheaper yet, but it's still not that expensive. So, until next time, this is John.